Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise today to celebrate and reflect on the life of a great man, John Cushing Esty, Jr., an education leader, a reformer, a man of intellect, wit, and joy, and a devoted family man, and my beloved father-in-law of 31 years. John Cushing Esty was the oldest of 4 boys. He was a ham radio operator, built radios, learned languages, was a gifted student, a lover of education and words. And he lived a life devoted to excellence in education. He was committed to education opportunity, although he attended some of the most elite private schools in the country. But as a leader of those schools, he pushed them into the modern era. In the Air Force during the Korean War era, he taught flight nurses, hundreds at a time, not, as he said, exactly tough duty. But as a young dean at Amherst College, I learned about his commitment to equal opportunity for all students from none other than a physician in the 1990s, a man named Marshall Holley, an African-American scholarship student in the 1950s, one of 3 students in his class at Amherst College. He got in trouble for having told off a professor who he believed to be racist. He risked losing a scholarship when he received a failing grade. He was sent to see my father-in-law. My father-in-law, as a young dean, said, "You know, Marshall, you weren't wrong to tell him off. He was wrong to treat you that way, but you were unwise to tell him off before you got your final grade. I will fix your grade, but you have to be wiser in the future." As headmaster of the Taft School in my district, Watertown, Connecticut, in the 1960s, a tumultuous time, John Esty led as an education leader, but he also led in the cause of what at the time was quaintly called coeducation. Much over the objection of many alumni, some of the present students and faculty, he pushed for coeducation, successfully so, and he did it because he knew that education opportunity and excellence could only happen when opportunities were provided for young women as well as young men. As a trustee of Amherst College, his alma mater, he successfully fought for that institution to become coeducation, over the objection of, among others, his own father. As a reformer, as the head of the National Association of Independent Schools, he helped create a program called A Better Chance that took his commitment to equal opportunity for young men and women of disadvantaged backgrounds to lead to a national effort and scholarship programs around this country. One of those examples of A Better Chance scholars is Governor Deval Patrick of Massachusetts, who credits his time as a Better Scholar at Milton Academy, having transformed his life from the South Side of Chicago to become one of this country's leaders. Similar scholarships also were adopted in other schools around the country, including one Punahou School in Hawaii, whose scholarship student Barack Obama graduated in 1979. My father-in-law devoted his life to excellence in education, but he lived the life as well. Not only did he care about excellent education in private schools, but he fought for it in public schools. He served on the elected Board of Education in his town of Concord, Massachusetts, and all 4 of his sons went to public schools. He was a man of merriment and wit and joy. He loved learning. We first met in 1978 and bonded over an argument over the correct pronunciation of a word. In classic John Esty style, he went to the dictionary that was in the dining room. We looked up the word. I happen to be right. I don't remember the word. He doesn't either, but I pronounced it correctly, and he knew that we had bonded for life. He loved children, especially his grandchildren. He told them amazing stories, often getting them so worked up they wouldn't go to bed, but they loved his stories, especially Jimmy Bond, the young James Bond stories, which have them in delights. John, you will be loved and missed by Catherine Esty, your wife of 60 years, all 4 of your sons, my husband Dan, my brother-in-law Paul and his wife Vonda, my brother-in-law Ben and his wife Raquel, my brother-in-law Jed and his wife Andrea, the many grandchildren, Sarah, Thomas, Jonathan, Mark, Julie, Victor, Jonah, Maya, Aaliyah, and Asher. You shared your love of life, of music, of stories, education, and of making a difference with all of us. You lived a full 87 years, a committed servant of this great country, a believer in educational opportunity, and a gift for joy. You will be greatly missed. Thank you, and God's